Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's the Y2K collector, and if you know anything about the Neo Geo, you'll know that one of the best things about this system is that it can play both US games and import games innately. You don't need to install any special types of chips or do any kind of modifications to the system. The system naturally will just play whatever game you put in the console. And that's one of the things that I love about the Neo Geo. Now, I've talked about the Neo Geo a ton on my channel, and everyone who's heard me talk about it, you will know that the Neo Geo is one of the most expensive systems that you can purchase, and it's one of the most expensive systems that you can collect for. Hence why I only have 3 games for the system. I have Alpha Mission 2, I have Magician Lord, and then I have a complete in-box copy of Last Resort. Now, I remember when I first got my Neo Geo and I tried playing Magician Lord, I actually tried to play it using this clunky arcade stick, which is pretty cool. Don't get me wrong, I like the arcade stick. But the problem is that it's not the most effective for playing the types of games that I play on the Neo Geo. Now, the Neo Geo is really a home-based arcade machine, which means the games are fast, they're frenetic, they are addicting, but they're also extremely hard. Like, even when you play some of these Neo Geo games on easy mode, it's just more difficult than what you would see from like maybe a Sega game or a Super Nintendo game. And that's primarily because arcade games were built and designed to make you spend more quarters. They were called quarter munchers back in the day. And I know some of you young bucks, you may not have ever been able to have the true arcade experience. Some of you may not even know what an arcade is, but back in the day, arcades used to be these large rooms filled with different video game machines. And a lot of these video game machines were usually action-packed games. A lot of them were like beat 'em up games. So the types of games you would see in the arcade would be like Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, Final Fight, the X-Men arcade game, which, God, I am dying for. Limited Run. Would you please port that game to the Switch already? Like, please, just do it already. Like, that's the one X-Men game that we never got to see on a home console, and that's the one we need on a home console. I guarantee you, if Limited Run were ever able to re-release the X-Men arcade game, I'm talking about the one with the blob, where it's like, no one can beat the blob. That one, if we get that one, I guarantee you, I'll come out of retirement and start buying Limited Run games again if they produce that stuff. But I'm going off on a tangent. So Neo Geo games were very tough to play, and for me, they're just tough to play using this arcade stick, because while I get what SNK was trying to do with this arcade stick, it doesn't have the tightness of an actual Neo Geo arcade stand. It's still fun, it's still cool, it just doesn't give you the same tightness. So for me, I knew that if I was going to make any headway in Last Resort, or if I was going to make any headway playing Magician Lord, I would need a better controller. And so I set out to find one of the more original controllers, and I was able to find one overseas from a gentleman over in Japan who actually refurbishes them. And today, ta-da, it finally came in, and I am super psyched. It's been a long day. I've been working all day, but the mailman did drop this off. I went out and checked the mailbox, and I saw this really cool Japanese wrapping. I love ordering from overseas because they always send me a cute little piece of origami in any of the stuff that I buy. So shout out to you, sir. I can't even remember your name right now because I am tired from the long work day, but I was so stoked when I opened the mailbox and I saw that I had this super cool Neo Geo controller. And this thing is pretty mint. I'm not gonna lie, he did a really good job with this. Like I said, it is refurbished. And if any one of you who have purchased the Neo Geo Mini, there is a controller that you can buy that you can use along with the Neo Geo Mini, and that controller is pretty cool. It's actually uncanny how close those controllers are to the original Neo Geo controllers. Now, this controller in particular is designed to work with, this controller is really meant for the Neo Geo CD, because I think this is the controller that comes standard when you purchase a Neo Geo CD. but this controller does work on the AES, and that's what I have it connected to right there. So for me, this is just a really cool device to have. And when I tap on some of the buttons here, you can definitely tell that it has some wear. You feel most of the wear on the A button, but usually that's how you're able to start. And this is like the main button on the Neo Geo controller. So I expected this to feel like it has a little bit more wear. The C and B buttons have a little more tread on them. And the D button also has some wear on it as well. So I just think that this is a really cool looking controller. It's a very interesting controller. And the replica that they made for it is almost identical. The only thing is that the replica is missing one key thing that sets all Neo Geo controllers apart from every other console. And that's that clickiness. Let me see if I can hear it. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. So for those of you who have never held a Neo Geo CD controller or this type of Neo Geo controller, I can't tell you how satisfying that click is when you're playing certain games, especially when you're playing games like Metal Slug. Now, over in the States, we're more used to like controllers that have an actual D-pad with just the 4 directional buttons. This kind of joystick gives you that 8 directional axis rather, and it's just really cool to play with this. It's just very satisfying. It gives you a little bit more control over some of the games that you'd be playing. And you really need this type of a controller for a lot of the Neo Geo games that are out there. Because like I said, they're all fast-paced, high-octane, high-energy. And when you think about playing games like Metal Slug, Last Resort, Blazing Star, Magician Lord, you really want to have a controller that's going to give you the full range of motion and the full access to be able to pull out your moves, pull out your maneuvers. And we can't forget about King of Fighters. I'm not a huge King of Fighters fan, but I know that there is almost like a cult following for the King of Fighters games. I think those games look amazing. I just don't think that they play better than the Street Fighter games. Come on, man. You're not going to get better than Street Fighter. Street Fighter is just too classic. It's just too classic. But nevertheless, I'm really happy to have this, and I'm really happy to add this to my collection. This is probably like the 3rd piece of video game hardware, whether it be a game or a console or a controller, that I've picked up this year, just because I'm being very, very focused about what I want to add to my collection. And I knew having an AES wouldn't be right if I didn't have this controller as an option to play some of the harder games that I have in my collection. And frankly, all my games are hard. Last Resort is tough as nails. Magician Lord is tough as nails. So it feels good to have a controller that I can use along with it. And like I said, if you've purchased the Neo Geo Mini, they do sell this controller along with it. I think I picked up the white version, and those controllers are great. The only thing is that they don't have the clickiness that you have here. And I think that they didn't add it because this component to make this is actually pretty expensive, if I'm not mistaken. So they kind of cheaped out. It does move in all directions. You're just not going to be able to have that feeling to know that you're actually locked into that direction. So this is a really cool find. I know it's something small. I know it's simple. I know it's not a brand new copy of Chrono Trigger or something, but I think I'm past that, past a lot of certain grails, and I just really want to have certain things in my collection. And I'm slowly but surely building a solid Neo Geo collection, just because it has so many classics on that system. And even though the games look like big old encyclopedias, they're still awesome, and graphically they're great. I mean, I'm playing Alpha Mission 2 right now. I just paused it real quick to take this video, but the graphics on the Neo Geo are great. The music is great. Just a stellar gaming system. But that does it for me. I just wanted to share with you the pickup that came in. Super glad to have it. Hope you are enjoying your week. It is the Y2K Collector. Let me know if you've picked up anything cool lately. Take it easy.